Jack Frost comes at dead of night.
So here we are in this glorious setting of School Farm Studios, complete with sunshine, alpacas, and of course a state-of-the-art recording studio. So we're here to record Jack Frost. Alan, tell us how Jack Frost came about.
You and I chatted about doing some kind of Christmas entertainment. And you said, go away and think, so I went away and thought. And I remembered when I was a child in the 1950s in Yorkshire, and my attic bedroom, which had a little dormer window, looked up onto the moors. And I remembered on those really cold winter days before central heating, Jack Frost's fingers would come across the window and you could see. And we were Jack Frost coming, you know. And the whole world was transformed. The tarn on the moor became ice and everybody skated on it. And then the snow would follow the frost and all the steam trains would stop. And the cars would honk and hoot, and the few that were on the road in the 1950s. And I thought, I wonder if I could make a story all about Jack Frost coming with a song in it to say that he was here. And it just sort of came from there. And it was a lovely trip down memory lane for me, really, in terms of remembering winter and Christmas, which is what it leads up to as a child.
What was so wonderful about receiving it was so musical. The storytelling felt like it could be set to music. And each little moment has its own musical character. The skating and the words sit so well with the music, and that was what was so thrilling for me, to actually be able to pop it on the piano and then create something. That
I think when you write,
life.
and I write, and I was a choir boy, so I've always sung. I suppose in a way it makes you very aware as a writer of rhythm and pitch and pace.
Yeah,
but then when you give a song to Grace and you think, crumbs, I wrote these words, and Grace is singing them. It's an enormous thrill for me. But I mean, I don't know what you felt like when you got it.
I mean, it sits beautifully under the music, and I can really nuance all those words really, and it's really captured exactly what you're saying about Christmas and your memories of Christmas. And I think that will translate immediately to people. I think it's a beautiful song, and I'm going to do my very best to make it really magical and special. And so.
Well, you will. I mean, that's the other thing. It's a bit like Sam Goldwyn. Between us, we can make something bigger than both of you. But you do feel like that. Yeah. And this is a triumvirate.
It's a collaboration, isn't it? It's great.
But that makes it so much more exciting. Because it's very lonely doing all three of our jobs.
Yes, well,
are solitary.
Yeah. Well, yes, and then, well, actually, no. I mean, for me, I come in at a point where I have to.
It's more social,
I have to be with a group. You have to sit and write the words, and you have to sit and make the music.
But when you're on, all eyes are on you, so you get your pressure later than we get ours.
Maybe, but I like that pressure, luckily.
Yeah, that's right. And it's a pressure that you I suppose you need, because without the adrenaline rush and knowing that you've got to record or you've got to perform with an audience, it wouldn't mean anything.
No,
You've got
exactly.
to have an audience
to spring off.
That's your collaboration
yes,
in a way,
I guess.
isn't it? With
and it's
audience.
wonderful to do it here at School Farm, because it's got its own magical qualities, and being in that studio is lovely, and that's a happy place for me as well.
Do you, particularly with this one, you compose it, and are you happy with what you're hearing now from your composition? I mean, the whole mix of everything going in.
Well, we'll mix it actually over the next few days. So today we're recording the children's choir, we're recording Grace, we're recording your narration, and we've done the orchestra. So in a way, it's such a thrill being here today, because it's the icing on the cake. It's the best bit.
This is the bit that David Lean always used to love, apparently. He said his favourite, great film director, Lawrence of Arabia et al., he said his favourite moment was when filming was over, he got into the edit suite and said, right. Because he got everything there, and he was then putting it together. So for all of us, really, I suspect this is the most exciting part.
I mean, the orchestra went swimmingly well. We got exactly what we needed from our orchestral recording. But of course, this is so much more personal, because we've got our soprano, we've got our narration, we've got everything that's going to be so featured in the story, and it's part of the storytelling, it's part of the excitement of putting it together. And then over the next few days we'll mix it, and at that point all the balance of everything, the balance of the orchestra against your narration, against the vocals, have to be beautifully pitched, and we have to make sure everything can be heard, the narration, the vocals, everything can be heard. It's like mixing a film, where there's dialogue and sound effects and music. everything has to have its place, so everything has to be heard.
And also, it will vary, which is more dominant than the other. You know, there are times when the music is the most important, then the words,
Yeah.
then the vocals. It's getting them all, as you set the right
It's getting
balance.
the balance. And of course, I've written it with your narration in mind. So I've written it thinking of the story and leaving space for it. It's different in a film, actually, because it's already there, the dialogue's there, and the composer has to work with what's there.
Yeah.
So a template is already there laid out for you, and I have to make it work and juggle the music. It's the other way round with this. You know, your storytelling came first, and I then have the job almost of creating the soundtrack from scratch. There's no template. I can create my own.
Well, I'm
which
always
makes it even more
fascinated about
exciting.
the difference, and there's a huge difference, I think, between a pianist and an accompanist. Total difference. I remember Gerald Moore, who was a famous composer, he wrote his autobiography and it was called Am I Too Loud? Which I thought was an honest title for an accompanist. But you know, you work with accompanist and you work with orchestras, and it is presumably that feeling of the two of you being aware of each other.
Very much so, really listening together. I mean, as a soloist, when I come into this situation, I mean, the orchestra's been pre-laid already.
Which you haven't
so,
heard yet.
So, and I haven't heard it, so that's...
First time you're here.
But that's
You're
great.
so in.
Well, I know,
To
I've
have an
heard.
orchestra in Vienna,
I know.
this is really proper.
Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? But I'll have to go with them to some extent. But then
And follow their dynamics.
I do,
and follow-
but I can fit my expression within, you know, each bar
Yeah,
and
and of
stretch
course,
how I can.
Do you like that challenge?
I do, yeah, I love it. I'm very, very
Very comfortable in studios and in churches and places. This is definitely my happy place. So I can't wait.
No, it's like me at the piano. You know, you being in front of a mic, recording is your happy. Me being at the piano is my happy place. And you now
And
being
I just
away.
sit there. I don't scribble anymore, but I put a little tiny little laptop and I think when you do it on a laptop rather than the
You
old
don't actually write.
I don't write
I
longhand.
still do.
I write letters. I'm
Yes.
a fountain pen man, so I do write. You still write? Well,
Yes, I still scribble on manuscript paper and pencil.
Yeah.
And then I transfer it onto computer. But the actual physical act of putting the dots on the stave and that act of is a physical thing.
Wow, as Mozart did. Well, no, it's true. And you've given me a book, which is a lyricist handbook with the.
I saw that. That's
Yeah.
sweet.
Well, I've got to do it now. I'm going to change my working practice and actually
write
use
it
my
down.
pen. Right, okay, I shall pick up the challenge now and then. As I say, I'm a fountain pen user anyway. I write a lot, but I do actually write my books and my articles and columns and things on the laptops. But now I think for music, perhaps I should.
I think so.
change.
There is something very physical about creating it on the page, and it is something that you know, I feel physically when I'm writing the music. This is how I want it to go: the flow of it, the tempo, the rhythm, the dynamics. Doing it on a computer with a keyboard in front of me would feel completely wrong.
Yeah.
Completely.
Can you, Grace, as a you know a really accomplished soprano, can you sight read anything straight off?
Yeah.
What a gift!
Yes, I mean, it's something I've become more confident in with over the years, and stepping in and doing so much studio work has really enabled that, because often you really only get 2 goes. So it's fine. I'm very comfortable doing that now, and I know what's required for offering different vowel sounds and colours that will work. So yeah.
Good employment.
I have
Glad we picked her.
I know what I'm doing this afternoon. It's not a surprise.
But
I
the thing
can't
is-
wait to just get it all
I know,
together now.
Me too. Me too.
It's going to be great.
difference, 'cause he won't stop his work at any cost. That's because his name's Jack Frost. Tell me, star up in the sky.
I wanted to write a carol that was hopeful and full of wonder and clearing away all the sort of baggage that we've got today. And I thought, well, the stars were there way back when that first Christmas happened, when the story, the greatest story ever told, occurred. And they've seen it. And that particular star there, was that the one that led the wise men to the manger? And I wanted it to be about childhood wonder and hope and a beautiful tune. And Debbie does wonderful tunes.
I think the tune came very naturally. The fabulous thing about receiving a lyric and putting it on the piano is that if it immediately suggests a tune, it has a natural rhythm and it has a natural quality to it. It makes the writing of it almost instinctive, and I didn't really have to work at it. I just sat it on the piano, I sung it through to myself, and the tune sort of presented itself without any real effort, which is always a sign of a lovely lyric and something that's inspiring. And before we knew it, in a couple of days, it was done. The melody was there, the tune was there. It needed very little adaptation or change from the original lyric. And we're just so thrilled with it. It just came together so beautifully. And it's our Christmas carol, our first Christmas carol.
Our first Christmas carol. Somebody once asked W.S. Gilbert of Gilbert and Sullivan fame, which came first, the words or the music? And he said, yes. But in our instance, the words came first, and I then shipped it across to Debbie and said, see what you can do with this. Rather fearful that she might say, well, actually, and back came this glorious carol.
Yeah, I think the words, for me, I like having the words first because it sets the template, if you like, for the music, and it allows me to imagine the melody. I follow the natural rhythm of Alan's words, and it was very natural. And there weren't any bumps or, you know, sort of stresses in the wrong place. I could immediately write the music without thinking too much about it. It was very, very, very natural. But I like having the words first. I like setting words to music and allowing them to speak to me and allowing the words to then present the music to me. And I then find a way of creating the song.
I think they're quite simple words, but they've got a very powerful message. You know, a message of hope and wonder, which is so beautifully translated by Caris and Red.
It's the first time we've written a song together. We've written other projects together where Alan's written poetry, which has inspired music, but it's the first time he's written a lyric, and I've put that on the piano and created an actual song from it. And I think the carol was just the perfect first song for us to do, wasn't it? Because it was so natural. We've got a purpose for it. We know it's going to happen at Christmas. And it was an absolute treat.
I mean, I've been writing for a living since the mid-1970s, and I've written poetry, and I've written novels, and I've written books about gardening. I've never written a lyric before. So it was wonderful to be able to write something which I knew would be set to music. And then to have Caris and Red sing your lyric. Well, I mean, I've died and gone to heaven with that star, I think, really, because to hear these three put it all together, they're the words, you have these, Debbie, see what you can do with that. And then we give it jointly to Caris and Red. And it's terribly moving when you suddenly hear, sitting there, writing music or words is very solitary business, and you tap away, and then you sort of give your words up for adoption, and then they're adopted by these two, and they make this most amazing, beautiful piece of music.
It was one of those moments where an email came into my machine, and it was from Debbie, and she sent this song, and I put it on. It was the carol. I fell instantly in love with it. I was singing it through, and then Red came in through the door.
And I fell in love with it again, same as she did. We just thought we'd try it together, and
It's
it
got
went
this
very
sense
well.
of wonder, doesn't it? It comes from a perspective of somebody young and full of curiosity, wanting to know that things are going to be okay. And it has this element of timelessness as well, that somebody else knows better than us here on earth. And it made sense for us to do it together. This is the first time that we've had the chance to sing together and harmonise together. Honestly, to hear our voices back like this today, I'm so pleased that we jumped in to this. How do you feel about it?
I think it's just a Christmas miracle to get this opportunity to sing with my mum.
Oh, before your voice breaks.
Yeah. To get that done first, get it on record.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful song.
Are we going for a Christmas number one? You bet we are.
We're very excited. We've got a wonderful team. Roll on Christmas.
Do we stand a chance?
I don't want to jinx anything. Do you know
I
what?
would. It would be nothing but a miracle.
I don't know, so much great music comes out of Christmas. To be part of that, I adore Christmas music. I obviously sang Baby It's Cold Outside, but that's going back to 1999. And I did a song last year called A Christmas Wish. To add a carol to the canon is superb. That's my number one.
Tell me, star up in the sky, was it you who by and by led the kings to stable bed? Was it you, or were you there? Did the shepherds by your light find their way through darkest nights to see the child who saves the world in strawy manger safely curled? Angels sang, the shepherds prayed, the kings their gifts before him laid. They knew deep within their hearts that here the greatest story starts. Tell me, star up in the sky, is that a tale for days gone by? Is that baby born for me nothing more than his story? Perhaps in time we'll come to